instead of you.
No, instead he's saying, "Get out of my way." Here is President Barack Obama. Here's the video and audio.
So we've got some work to do. I don't mind, by the way, being responsible. I expect to be held responsible for these issues because I'm the president. But I don't want the folks who created the mess. I don't want the folks who created the mess to do a lot of talking. I want them just to get out of the way so we can clean up the mess. We did not come this far by lowering our sights.
We're going to talk about this when we get back. Final segment with Dr. Jerome Corsi. You notice here that he says anybody that opposes him created the mess.
Well, he sounds more like Al Sharpton, and pretty soon he's going to start sounding like Reverend Wright if he keeps going this way.
But you notice he's saying, I don't want to hear talk from you. He says, I don't want to hear your speech.
Pepperspray.com is the only website you'll ever need for all of your non-lethal self-defense supplies. Pepperspray.com carries one of the largest assortments of pepper spray and personal safety products on the web. From big to small, we have it all. Pepper spray, mace, animal repellents, stun guns, and tasers. Pepperspray.com also carries a large assortment of products for personal, home, child, and pet safety. Enter SAFE in the coupon box, and you'll receive a special discount off of your order. So what are you waiting for? Go to pepperspray.com. That's pepperspray.com. Or call 1-800-908-9988 today.
You know, we haven't even gotten into the whole birther issue, or Iran, with Jerome Corsi, Dr. Jerome Corsi. But it's outrageous to hear him say that anybody that opposes anything he's doing, we all cause the mess. See, that's why the Democrats need the Republicans, and the Republicans need the Democrats to always blame what's happening on the other party when they're all in bed together. But there's no doubt Obama is very anti-liberty, anti-freedom. And the good news is, Dr. Corsi, I don't see him getting away with any of this. I think everybody knows he is a con artist, lying scammer, reading off a teleprompter. And I think he's going to be one of the most unpopular presidents ever. I don't think there's any way he's going to win re-election.
Well, when I wrote The Abomination, I compared him to Jimmy Carter. And I think he's going to do worse than Jimmy Carter. I don't see President Obama surviving to get into a second term to be reelected. I mean, I don't think politically he's going to survive to have the ratings he's going to need to get reelected to a second term. I think he's a one-term president.
Well, I've never seen him look angry, and in these clips, he looks like an egomaniac. Somebody who isn't an egomaniac doesn't care what people think. He looks upset in the eyes, so which makes him dangerous. In closing, Doc, you've been talking to Hawaii about the birth certificate copies and all this. What do you really think's going on with the birth certificate? I mean, isn't there enough issues we can prove that destroy this criminal? Or do you think the birth certificate really has something to it?
Well, I think the birth certificate, to me, this is the issue. Why is it? Let's just assume President Obama is telling the truth. He's born in Hawaii. So why doesn't he just end this entire controversy today, President Obama, and say, okay, you want to see my long-form original birth certificate? Here it is. I'll show it to you. It's supposed to be a transparent presidency. Instead, President Obama and candidate Obama have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, now into the millions, in order to prevent anybody from seeing that document, his birth certificate, the original long-form one, as well as dozens of other documents about who he is.
And now you're talking to Hawaii and they're being secretive?
Well, Hawaii won't answer questions. Hawaii will not even authenticate that the short-form certificate of live birth that the campaign and sites like factcheck.org have put out are authentic. I can't get them to authenticate.
But again, Fact Check is one of their Soros organs, isn't it?
It's an Annenberg organization, and it has ties back into the left. Annenberg, again, is an association, is a foundation where then, prior to being Senator Obama, when he was community organizer Obama, and Bill Ayers both worked. I showed that in the Abomination. But my point out, Alex, is this. There's a score of documents. This is the least vetted President Obama, that we've ever had. What about his passport records? How about his records in Indonesia?
How about Barry Soetoro? I mean, he is the only president who had aliases and other names before. He really is creepy.
I want to see his law firm records. He's admitted that as a lawyer, Obama worked with Tony Rezko, who's now in federal prison. I'd like to see the hours that he billed and how much work he really did in that law firm for Tony Rezko. How about his records at Occidental College? He was rooming with Pakistani students. Usually universities don't put U.S. students with foreign exchange students. Did Barack Obama apply as a foreign exchange student? He traveled to Pakistan with those students. Did he go on his Indonesian passport? Did he have an Indonesian passport?
Yeah, we know they've sealed all his records like no president.
Everything's sealed.
They are acting very, very suspicious.
And that's the birth certificate issue.
Maybe the big secret
I'm not
is
saying he was born in Kenya. I'm an investigative reporter. I can't prove that. I'm just saying, give us the documents. We want to see the documents. And why does even a birth certificate, a long form, have to be a top secret document that's sealed?
Hold on one second, Dr. Corsi. I know you've got other stuff to do here in a moment, but we're about to break for 1 minute. I wanted to talk to you off air for just a moment, so stay with us. And Bob Chapman's coming up on the economy.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
It is Friday, August 7th, 2009. We're at the halfway point of this transmission. 2 hours, massive news blitzes on the economy, on the police state, on saber rattling with Russia and Iran. It is all coming up. Bob Chapman in the next segment. And we've got the lawyer for a black man beat up by Obama supporters on camera. And then the media spun it and was so disingenuous that I read the articles and thought they were talking about anti-Obama people being arrested when it was pro-Obama people being arrested with some anti. So just amazing as we try to decipher this with eyewitnesses and others coming up, because this country's on the edge of revolution. And when I say that, I mean it. But Dr. Corsi, I held you over for 4 or 5 minutes because I mainly got you on about the birther situation, and then we got off into other issues, this SPP meeting going on under a new name this weekend, and the news blackout. But for some stations that just joined us, in a nutshell, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying you don't know whether he was born in Kenya or not. It's that he was in Indonesia. He lied about being in a Muslim school. Now he brags about it. Wouldn't be bad if he was honest. He had this Barry Soetoro name. They've sealed all these documents, college documents, when he stayed in the Muslim Pakistani dorms, which they would only do with a Muslim. You know, the fact is he's lied about everything, and they only give us this receipt of the birth certificate, and they brought that out early when nobody was pointing it out. Break that down for us. Well,
we need to see the original long form birth certificate. Lists the hospital, the doctor who was attending the birth. Why is that a top secret document? If President Obama is telling the truth, in one day he can have this go away. Just show us the long form birth certificate. But President Obama won't do that, and candidate Obama wouldn't either. Obama's now spent over $1 million to prevent anybody in the public from seeing this top secret document, his original long form birth certificate. And it's one of a series of documents. We don't have his records in Indonesia. Was he adopted by his stepfather? I've got the records that say he was at school in Indonesia for 4 years, registered as an Indonesian citizen and a Muslim. Was that an official citizenship? Does Obama have an Indonesian passport, or did he ever? We can't see President Obama's passport records. None of the school records. Obama's kindergarten records are sealed. His high school records at Punahu are sealed. You can't see the Occidental College records or the Columbia records or his Harvard Law School records. We can't see his passport records. We don't have any of his work in Chicago. How about the law firm he worked with? I'd like to see the hours he billed. He did work for now federal felon Tony Rezko. How many hours did he bill Rezko?
Well, let's briefly talk about the Muslim issue, and then you've got to go in about a minute and a half. Well, I mean, if he was honest about being a Muslim, his dad's a Muslim, his cousin that he helps slaughter Christians with, on record's a Muslim. You know, he said, "Oh, don't call me Hussein Obama." Now he says, "You better call me Hussein Obama." He speaks Arabic perfectly. The Muslims are all stunned. He says, "I have Muslim roots." I mean, he went to a madrasa. He's clearly a Muslim, and that's okay. But it's the lying about it. We now have our first Muslim president, basically.
Well, here's what I've proved. I've been able to get the record in Indonesia. He was there from ages 6 to 10 with his stepfather, who was Muslim. Obama was registered at 2 schools as an Indonesian citizen and as a Muslim. Now, I can't prove, we can't get any other record. I can't prove whether he was officially an Indonesian citizen or whether he was adopted. I did prove he attended at least 1 year of Islamic instruction and in Indonesia. And, of course, the Obama campaign had denied that President Obama had ever had any Islamic instruction. Now he says in Cairo, in a speech in Cairo, that President Obama brags that he's experienced Islam on 3 continents. Well, I'd like to have that more precisely defined with truth.
Well, listen, I really appreciate you, Dr. Corsi, joining us. We'll have you on again as the new book, America for Sale, comes out.